I'm so excited today because we have just an incredible all-around woman who is a multi-threat in many dimensions. This is Christine Lahti. She is an Oscar winner, an Emmy winner, a Golden Globe winner, and we're going to talk about, because you make your Golden Globe wins count for something. Actress and a filmmaker. She's also an activist. You know her from a million things. I'm just going to give you like a short taste. Chicago Hope, Law & Order SVU, Hawaii Five-0, The Blacklist, many, many, many more. She's also now, because she couldn't stay in her own lane, she had to come into the author ones as well. She's got a brand new book out. It's called True Stories from an Unreliable Witness, a Feminist Coming of Age. And she's going to be appearing April 24th here in New York City in conversation with Michael Moore at the Strand at the New School. And she's also going to be in Los Angeles with Rob Reiner. That's going to be amazing. Why can't I be at that one?
And next Monday, on the 9th of April, with Gloria Steinem, Books Are Magic in Brooklyn.
That's that's an amazing bill. Okay, and I imagine we'll be talking about feminism.
Just a little.
Just maybe just a smidge.
The book is all through my feminist lens. Every story has that, that lens.
Absolutely. So let's start with that, because one of the things I really appreciated about this book, you're a second waiver, I'm a third waiver, I don't even know what wave we're in now. You talk about evolving as a feminist and how you have changed in your feminism over the years, and it's something we all have to do, and we all come to our feminism imperfectly as well.
Yes.
It's really a practice.
It's
kind of
practice.
Like yoga, right?
It is. It's an ever-evolving, I think, set of awakenings. I keep getting awakened and woke by what else I can learn as a feminist.
And you talk about your mom and her own journey, because your mom went from being this very traditional housewife who voted the way her husband would vote and brought him everything he wanted to bring, to kind of coming into her own. But you had this really, really galvanizing conversation with her early on in your adult life, where she gave you an imperative.
She did. First, she tried to sell me a book called The Total Woman by Mirabelle Morgan. Do you remember that?
I do, because, let's just say I do.
It's a tough book.
Which, for those who aren't familiar with it, was an interesting way of empowering women in this moment in the 70s?
Yes, in the 70s, empowering. So what you do to get what you want from your guy is you never express any anger or frustration. You just please him, and then you can manipulate him into getting what you want. So you greet him at the door, butt naked, with a cowboy hat and a martini in hand, and your every wish is his command, which is exactly what my mom told me she tried with my dad, and I kind of threw up in my mouth. And then, this was right when I was finding feminism and finding its urgency and its necessity as the only way I could navigate through life through a world that I knew didn't like women, didn't really respect them. So I thought, okay, I got this life jacket of my feminism. And then she gives me this book and says, here, honey, this might help you. So after we went through that chapter, which was challenging, she did come to me and say, with tears in her eyes, and say, carry the banner for me. I can't do it, it's too late for me. But you can. The sky is the limit for you, and I need you to fight, and what you're doing is so important. She came to that realization.
And yet it wasn't too late for her.
It wasn't. She went on after that to become a wonderful professional artist, painter, and then she became a pilot.
It's never too late.
It's never too late.
But I love the idea of understanding that we carry the banner for each other.
Yes.
And that we pass it on to the next generation, which feels very much like where we are now. And I'm wondering what you're thinking when you came in wearing your Time's Up pin, and I'm sure you're looking around right now at this new generation rising up. What are you learning from this new wave of activism, whether it's about social issues or about this culture of harassment and abuse and sexism that we've been seeing in so many industries?
So I've been dreaming about this movement my entire adult life. We thought we had it when Anita Hill put a name to it. We didn't even know that it was a thing. We thought it was just the way life was, that men got to do this to us and we had to figure out how to put up with it. And then she said the word. It was sexual harassment, and it suddenly was not okay. And that's what all of us went, oh, that's what we've been feeling. That's not okay anymore. So, and then we thought there was going to be a real shift in the workplace and in the culture, and there wasn't. It was kind of stagnated. And now I feel like with millennials and young women, young feminists, it really feels different. It feels like this is it. This really feels like a shift, and I'm cautiously optimistic that it's here to stay.
And you talk about, it's interesting because obviously you were writing most of this book before all of this kind of sea change culturally, and yet you start very early on talking about an experience you had where you were going out for a cereal commercial and encountered the casting couch.
Yeah. So I was really naive. I'd heard about the casting couch, but I never thought it was going to be in New York. I thought it was like a Hollywood thing, and I never thought it was going to be for a cereal commercial. And he said I could have the commercial. I really wanted it, even though I had sworn I would never do commercials, but reality set in and I was getting tired of waitressing, like really tired of waitressing. So I really needed the money. And he said I had it, but all I had to do was sleep with the director. And I was so shocked and horrified. And then he proceeded to tell me that the only way I could ever make it as an actress was to sleep my way to the top. And he mentioned these 5 really well-respected actresses who had done just that. And he said, how else do you think you're going to make it? I mean, you're not conventionally beautiful. You're too tall, and you're this, and you don't have any connections. And of course I said, no, how dare you? But I burst out crying. And I didn't tell him to go fuck himself. Unfortunately, I ended up walking home 75 blocks to my apartment in the Village, sobbing most of the way. But that was the walk that, as I write about in my book, that took my feminism from my head and dropped it bone deep. And I was determined never to ever let another man treat me like that again. But of course, 2 weeks later, I was at an audition and a director was flirting inappropriately and rubbing my thigh. And what did I do? I flirted back and giggled because I really wanted the job. And then I hated myself. So that's just a microcosm story of how my feminism has evolved and keeps changing, and I keep getting having these little awakenings. It's not like one big awakening.
You have this great, and part of that experience, that revelatory walk for you is where you come up with this phrase that I want to see it on T-shirts, which is, smiling is not my girl duty.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? It's a really powerful thing to say, because we do, as you say, we do think it is our girl duty. We take it on as our girl duty.
Well, we're told to do it all the time, and we think there's something
by randos
wrong.
On the street.
By randos. I used to, when I was doing Chicago Hope, I would prepare with music. I still do, especially if there's a big emotional scene. I'm really in the zone, and I'm preparing, and I walk by these Teamsters, and they say, hey, what's the matter? Smile. And I used to say to them, why? I'm doing my work. Am I asking you to smile? You're driving your truck. Do I ask you to smile while you're driving your truck? That shuts them up for like a day, and then they
and then they just go.
They don't get it. Why aren't you smiling? That's what you're supposed to. You have to do that.
Right. How dare I, as a man, have to be out in the world with women who aren't pleasant to me, who don't seem pleasing and deferential to me?
Exactly.
What a nightmare.
Exactly. Rob Reiner just played a part. He played the judge on The Good Fight. I had a part, a recurring part on that, and I'll never forget his line. He said to Christine Baranski's character, what's the matter? Why aren't you smiling? I just ruled in your favor. And she just looked at him. He said, when did women stop smiling? When did this happen, that women just stop smiling? And she starts to laugh like hysterically. Just, oh my God, where am I?
And what I love though is you make it really clear that we're all doing this imperfectly.
Yes.
And we have moments where we feel really righteous and we stand up for ourselves and we take a big stand, and then a minute later some guy calls and invites us to a party, which is what happened to you.
Yes, and I gained 5 pounds and I can't go. Right.
You decide I weigh 5 pounds too much to attend a party with a man that I'm attracted to.
Exactly. A man I was really attracted to, and it was also, I think it was a movie opening. Yeah, and no. Paparazzi and cameras, and no.
I am 5 pounds away from being acceptable in the outside world.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Right? And women are taught to think this. And you talk about your parents and you loved your parents, but your mom would give you these books about how to brush your hair and moisturize your elbows because what kind of a world can we live in if there are women walking around with unmoisturized elbows?
And knees.
And knees.
That really surprised me, even back then when I got the list, the good grooming habits for women. Knees. My knees are all scabby and bruised and bloody all the time. I was a tomboy. I don't know how to moisturize my knees, but that was on the list.
And of course, you can't give away the milk.
Right, yes.
Which is a thing that girls still hear.
No, they don't.
I mean, maybe not that specific one, but we certainly see in our culture right now. You have kids, I have teenagers, this culture that still tells girls that they have to attain a certain level of purity, that they have to dress to a certain degree of modesty, that their male classmates are not held up to, right?
Right. Oh,
This crap still happens.
Well, yeah, I guess girls are still taught, even if they're not directly taught, it's by osmosis, you get it from the culture. Your worth is just in how you look. So when you hear, like I heard from my dad, why buy the milk when you can, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? What I wanted to say back was, well, Dad, why buy, let me get this right, why buy a little sausage? No, why buy, no, it's good, it's better. Why buy the whole pig just for a little sausage? Right? That was it.
You got it.
Why buy
I thought there was going to be some sort of farmer metaphor. I thought we were going to why.
No, we went right to the dick. Straight to the penis.
Right, but it's true, right? But we still don't have these conversations. Like we're still, and this is why your story of evolving in your feminism is so important, because we see generation after generation coming up, and these young women who are told they're doing it wrong.
Right.
Whatever it is, you're too sexy, you're not sexy enough, you're too thin, you're too big, you're too loud, you're not loud enough.
Right.
Whatever. It does feel like maybe this is a moment that is changing.
It does.
We hope.
It does. I mean, one of the differences between the second wave of feminism and what you guys or millennials are.
I love that you used me and millennial in anywhere near the same vicinity. Thank you, Christine.
You're a cousin, a kissing cousin to millennials.
Sure, absolutely.
Sure, take it.
Thank you.
Anyway,
That's true.
I have to suck up to you. You know, you're anyway, I feel it's my obligation. But when I was a new feminist, the last thing I would ever the way I would present myself to the world would be in a sexy way. I didn't want to wear skirts or dresses or makeup or any. It was like, do not objectify me anymore. I will be respected for my intelligence, my achievements, my talent, but you will not value me for my sexuality. So I denied it. A lot of women did, and it was a strategy. And we got told, oh, you're too, strong, and you're too bulldykey, or whatever the word was. Just horrible, judgments about that strategy. But it was necessary. And now I think young women have the freedom to say, they also had feminist mothers, most of them, I hope, have the freedom to say, I get to be as sexually provocative as I want to, and I own it, I celebrate it. I don't care. If you're going to objectify me, that's your problem. I'm going to celebrate my sexuality. And I think that there's a great freedom of expression in that, and also a complete ownership of your entire being and not denying any pieces or parts of it.
Yeah, the shift in agency and the shift in feeling like, am I the one who, the gaze, right? Am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for myself? Am I doing this for the men who are looking at me, whether I'm walking down the street or not? Yeah. So this book is, obviously it's a feminist book, but it also is very much a family book. It is a memoir, and I have to say I was deeply moved when you get later into the book and you talk about your siblings and you talk about their experiences with mental illness, which is hard to talk about. It is a hard topic, and for a lot of families, it does not get discussed.
Right.
It is not out in the open, and you are extremely honest in the journeys that you went on with your siblings, including the fact that a lot of it was painful and negative and hard and made you angry in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Why was it important to talk about that as well in this book that's also so much about Hollywood and the industry, to go back to that?
Well, these are my, I don't know what you call them, peak moment stories, whether they're about failure or success or just the big emotional moments of my life and in story form. And one of the most therapeutic things about writing these stories I found was writing about my family. The four family members I wrote about have all passed on, so that made it a lot easier to explore these feelings, complicated feelings about them. And I found in writing, for instance, the story about my sister's suicide, who had extreme bipolar mental illness, that I found in writing it, I found a forgiveness of her. I did not really understand her choice. It made me angry, it made me guilty. What could I, shoulda, woulda, coulda, what I could have done to prevent it is almost inescapable for anyone who has someone they know who commits suicide. But I found in writing it, there was a kind of forgiveness. And same with my mom, same with my dad, same with my brother. I came to some understanding and about them that I hadn't before I wrote the stories.
Yeah, and that's hard. And it's hard in those situations to have compassion, but to also let yourself feel that anger. And a lot of people who have family members who deal with mental illness also have to acknowledge those feelings. It's like, it's not fun. It's hard. Fun. It's really, really, really hard. And to have permission to have all of those complicated feelings is hugely important. We're so near the end, but I can't let you go, Christine, until I ask you, one of my favorite chapters is all about how to kiss in Hollywood. Yeah. So you've kissed some of the best. Now, so. Not all of us are going to have an opportunity
to kiss Bradley Cooper.
Not yet. I'm just going to say not yet.
It still could happen.
If I ever do have to kiss Bradley Cooper, what tips can you give me, Christine?
Well, okay, there's a guy you don't have to, as you're looking into his eyes.
You really need to work too hard.
You don't have to work hard. What I've had to do in the past when it wasn't Bradley Cooper is I've had to sometimes imagine I'm looking into the eyes of my golden retriever, Nellie, and that gets me there. I love her so much. It works.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know when guys are looking into my eyes, they're thinking about their favorite sports team or whatever.
And it's just a beautiful golden retriever looking at the Eagles.
Exactly. And it's magic. It's movie magic.
And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of Hollywood. The book is once again called True Stories from an Unreliable Eyewitness, a Feminist Coming of Age. This is Christine Lahti. She is the lady, she will always be remembered for being in the bathroom when she won her Golden Globe. But you made it anyway to do your speech.
I did. Thanks to Robin Williams.
Because you're a trooper.
Yeah.
You're absolutely a trooper. Christine Lahti, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.